Getting Paid, Part 1. What do you do? And other questions. 1.1. What do you actually do for people? In which areas have you achieved the level of mastery required to command a premium fee? Furthermore, what specific credentials, whether through formal education, specialized certifications, or deep industry experience, validate your authority in these domains? What specific results can you consistently deliver at a professional standard? Identify the specialized training or academic background that underpins your ability to solve these problems for your clients. Which of your skills are market-ready and high value enough to monetize today? Beyond your natural talent, what proof of expertises, such as certifications or degrees, do you possess that gives clients the confidence to invest in you? Where does your highest level of professional competence lie? Detail the training and education that have built your foundation as an expert in this field. 1.2. Who is your ideal client? Have you clearly defined your ideal client profile? Do you know where they gather, both digitally and physically? Beyond surface-level requests, do you understand their fundamental needs and the specific solutions they are seeking? Most importantly, what high-stakes problems do they face that only you can solve? And what is the typical investment they are prepared to make to see those problems disappear? Identifying your ideal client is not about limiting your opportunities. It is about amplifying your impact. When you try to speak to everyone, your message becomes diluted, making it difficult for the right people to hear you. By narrowing your focus to a specific ideal profile, you learn the exact language of their frustrations. This deep understanding allows you to position your services not as a generic expense, but as a precise surgical strike against their most pressing professional headaches. Understanding a client's true needs and financial capacity is the difference between a struggling freelancer and a thriving consultant. It's not enough to know what they want, you must know what it is worth to them. When you identify a client with a significant problem and the budget to match, you move away from haggling over hourly rates. Instead, you enter a partnership where your fee is a reflection of the value you create, ensuring your business is built on a foundation of mutual respect and sustainable profit. 1.3. What are you charging people for? Are you aware of the current market rate for the expertise you offer? Have you conducted the necessary research to understand how your competitors price their services and exactly what deliverables they provide for those fees? Furthermore, can you match the industry standard while offering a distinct advantage, be it through superior speed, a more refined process, or more impactful results? Understanding the competitive landscape is not about copying your peers. It is about establishing a baseline for your own value. When you are blind to what others in your field are charging, you risk undercutting your worth, or pricing yourself out of the market without justification. Market research provides you with the data needed to stand firm during fee negotiations. It transforms your pricing from a best guess into a strategic decision rooted in the reality of your industry, allowing you to speak about your rates with the authority of someone who knows exactly where they fit in the ecosystem. 1.4. Are you content with what you're charging? Does your current fee structure truly reflect the value you provide and sustain the lifestyle you desire? Is there a legitimate, scalable market for your expertise at the price point required for you to thrive? It is a hard truth of business that passion does not always equate to a paycheck. If the demand isn't there, or if the market isn't willing to meet your necessary rates, then what you have is a fulfilling hobby rather than a viable profession. Profitability is the oxygen of any professional practice. While many focus on the joy of their craft, true confidence comes from knowing your business can actually support your life. If you are barely covering your expenses, you aren't just underpaid, you are at risk of burnout. Raising your rates is often less about greed and more about the integrity of your work. Higher fees allow you the breathing room to provide deeper focus and better service to each individual client, rather than being forced to churn through a high volume of projects just to survive. The most dangerous trap for a skilled professional is the assumption that being good at something is enough to build a business. A successful career sits at the intersection of what you love, what you excel at, and what the market is actively willing to pay for. Validating your market means moving beyond wishful thinking and looking at the cold, hard data of client behavior. If you find yourself in a space where no one is willing to pay your required rate, you must decide whether to pivot your audience, refine your offering, or accept that your passion may be best kept as a personal pursuit rather than a commercial one. 1.5. Are you busy? Too busy? What's your plan to attract clients? What is your current operational capacity? Are you managing a healthy workload, or are you overwhelmed by the busy trap? Do you have a reliable, repeatable system for attracting high-quality leads, or is your pipeline unpredictable? Beyond just meeting your immediate monthly obligations, does your current client flow allow you to build a surplus for the future? And if not, where specifically will you look to source your next tier of opportunities? Are you asking for referrals? Do you offer a referral bonus if customers or clients refer others your way for business? Does your work do the talking for you and attract new clients because your current clients can stop raving about the work you do for them? There is a profound difference between being productive and simply being busy. Many professionals mistake a full calendar for a successful business, only to realize they are running on a treadmill that leads to exhaustion rather than growth. When you are too busy without a plan, you lose the ability to think strategically, which often results in neglecting the very lead generation activities that keep a business alive. To move from a state of frantic survival to one of calm authority, you must shift from reactive work, handling whatever lands in your inbox, to proactive capacity management. A sustainable livelihood is built on a predictable influx of opportunities, not on the hope that the phone will ring. Relying on word of mouth is a complement to your skill, but relying on it exclusively is a risk to your security. You must identify specific watering holes, the digital or physical spaces where your ideal clients congregate, and establish a consistent presence there. When you have a clear plan for where to find more work, the pressure of the monthly bill cycle fades, replaced by the confidence that you can not only cover your costs, but also invest in your long-term financial freedom. 1.6. What is your plan to increase your income over time? What is your strategic roadmap for increasing your earnings over time? A stagnant income is, in reality, a declining one when measured against inflation and your evolving life goals. Does your current business model possess the scalability to fund your future, whether that means retirement, significant investments, or the freedom to step away for a season? If your chosen path cannot support your long-term financial requirements, you must critically evaluate whether it is a sustainable career or a passion project that lacks a viable economic engine. Financial health is not a static state, it is a forward-moving target. If your income does not outpace the rising cost of living, you are effectively subsidizing your clients' businesses with your own future security. Professionals who possess calm confidence around money understand that their rates must reflect more than just today's bills. Your pricing must account for the future self who will one day want to retire, travel, or weather an unexpected crisis. Designing a path for income growth is not an act of greed. It is an act of professional responsibility to ensure your business remains a source of support rather than a source of stress. There is a hard boundary between a job and a scalable practice. If your income is strictly tied to a finite number of billable hours, you will eventually hit a glass ceiling that no amount of hard work can break. You must ask yourself if your current service allows for premium pricing, passive revenue, or delegated growth. If you find yourself working at maximum capacity but still unable to save for the life you envision, your business model, not your work ethic, is the problem. Recognizing this gap early allows you to pivot toward high-value offerings that respect both your talent and your need for financial freedom. 1.7. What is your plan to replace your income if you have to? What is your strategy for income resilience should your circumstances suddenly shift? If your health falters, market demand pivots, or your passion for your current role simply wanes, do you have a plan B in place? Career longevity often requires the ability to reinvent oneself every 5 to 10 years. By identifying your transferable skills and parallel interests now, you ensure that a transition, whether forced by necessity or chosen by desire, is a strategic move rather than a desperate scramble. Are you prepared to answer what's next before you are actually forced to ask it? In an ever-changing economy, the most valuable asset you possess is not your current job title, but your ability to adapt. We often operate under the illusion that our current workflow will last forever. Yet true professional confidence comes from knowing you are not a one-trick pony. Thinking about your next evolution isn't a sign of disloyalty to your current path. It is a safeguard against the burnout trap. When you broaden your skill set and maintain a curiosity for other industries, you build a safety net that allows you to pivot with grace, rather than panic when the market or your own heart decides it's time for a change. A plan B is not just about worst-case scenarios like illness or market crashes. It is about the freedom of choice. The professional who has considered their alternative skills is the one who can walk away from a toxic client or a stagnant industry without fear. This foresight prevents the "what now?" crisis that many face when a long-term project ends or a niche becomes obsolete. By auditing your interests and maintaining a secondary skill stack, you ensure that you are never a hostage to your current occupation. You aren't just building a career for today. You are building the capacity to thrive in whatever tomorrow looks like. 1.8. Are you prepared to avoid the burnout trap? Have you developed a sustainable framework to insulate yourself from the burnout trap? What is your contingency plan if the work you once loved begins to feel like a burden rather than a calling? Chronic repetition and high-pressure environments can erode even the deepest professional passion over time. Are you building a business that respects your human limitations? Or are you constructing a treadmill that you eventually won't have the will to run on? One of the most dangerous assumptions in the freelance world is that doing what you love provides a natural immunity to exhaustion. In reality, passion can often act as a blindfold, leading you to ignore the warning signs of burnout until you are already in a state of collapse. Burnout isn't just being tired. It is a systemic depletion of your emotional and creative resources. Recognizing that your enthusiasm has a shelf life, if not properly preserved, is the first step toward building a business that prioritizes your well-being as much as your bottom line. Avoiding the burnout trap requires more than just taking a vacation. It requires an architectural shift in how you work. This means setting ironclad boundaries, automating repetitive tasks that drain your energy, and allowing yourself the grace to evolve your service offerings as your interests change. When you build a business with the long game in mind, you create space for rest and pivot points. By preparing for the possibility of exhaustion today, you ensure that you have the clarity to navigate through it, or around it, before the "what now?" crisis ever takes root. 1.9. What's your long-term vision for what you do? What is the long-term vision for your professional practice? Can your current service model and value proposition remain viable and profitable 5, 10, or 20 years into the future? As industries evolve and technologies shift, will your expertise retain its relevance, or are you prepared to pivot should your niche become obsolete? True professional security comes not from the work you do today, but from your ability to anticipate the phasing out of current trends and adapt your skills to meet the demands of tomorrow. In an era of rapid technological and economic shifts, a set-it-and-forget-it business model is a liability. Long-term success requires a dual focus, delivering excellence in the present while keeping a watchful eye on the horizon. If you cannot envision your current offerings existing a decade from now, you are essentially working in a sunset industry. This realization shouldn't cause panic. Rather, it should spark a disciplined curiosity. By asking the difficult questions about your future relevance now, you give yourself the lead time necessary to evolve your skills and stay ahead of the curve, ensuring you are the one driving change rather than being sidelined by it. The greatest threat to a seasoned professional is not a lack of talent, but a lack of agility. Many successful businesses have been phased out simply because they were too comfortable in their current success to notice the world moving past them. Building a 20-year vision isn't about predicting the exact state of the world in 2 decades. It's about building a robust skill stack that can be rearranged as the market dictates. When you view your business as a living entity that must grow and adapt, you transform the fear of being obsolete into an opportunity for reinvention. Your career is a marathon, and the most successful runners are those who know when to change their pace and their path. 1.10. Are you investing what you earn? Are you strategically deploying your earnings to build long-term wealth? Does your current income generate a sufficient surplus to fund a future where work is optional, whether through a traditional retirement, a transition to new ventures, or the eventual sale of your business? If your professional practice does not currently facilitate this level of financial growth? Have you identified the structural or market-based reasons why? And are you prepared to adjust your model to ensure your labor today buys your freedom tomorrow? There is a critical distinction between making a living and building a life. Many high-earning professionals fall into the trap of high-consumption lifestyles that mirror their rising income, leaving them with little to show for years of intensive labor and serving clients night and day, and on weekends. True financial confidence comes from the discipline of converting active income into passive or appreciating assets. Your business should not just be a source of monthly cash flow. It should be a wealth-generating engine. If you are not retaining a portion of every dollar earned to invest in your future self, you are essentially a high-paid tenant in your own career, rather than the owner of your financial destiny. Every professional should work with an exit in mind, even if they never intend to retire. Whether that exit is selling a thriving firm, transitioning to a consultancy role, or simply having enough money to turn down misaligned projects, your current income must be the architect of that reality. If your business model requires your constant physical presence to generate a single dollar, you have a job, not an asset. By asking why or why not regarding your long-term growth, you force a confrontation with the scalability of your work. The goal is to move from a state where you must work to a state where you choose to work, supported by the harvest of the seeds you are planting today. Key insights. If you take nothing else from this section, take this. Clarity precedes income. Before you can command premium fees, before you can raise your rates, before you can confidently ask a client to pay you, you must know exactly what you do, who you serve, what you are worth, and where you are going. A sustainable professional practice is not built on talent alone. It is built on positioning, intentional pricing, strategic growth, and long-term thinking. You are not just performing services. You are building an economic engine, and if that engine is not structured correctly from the beginning, no payment strategy in the world will fix it. Now that you've done the hard mental work, defining your value, identifying your market, evaluating your income plan, and confronting your long-term vision, we can move to the next phase, the practical phase, the part most people avoid. How do you actually get paid? What do you say? How do you structure it? When do you ask? How do you avoid awkwardness, underpricing, and delayed payments? You now understand the foundation. It's time to move into the mechanics. Having clarified your direction, let's make sure you get paid for it properly. Ready? Let's get into it.